One of the state's few majority minority cities has a new mayor. Former Brockton City Councilor Moises Rodrigues was sworn in earlier this month. He's Brockton's first mayor of color and of Cape Verdean descent. Mayor Rodrigues joins us now to talk about his vision for the year ahead. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning, Mark, and good morning, GBH. Great to be a part of your program.
Well, great to have you. Um, Brockton, as I mentioned, it's not only a majority minority city, it's New England's first Black majority city. As I said, you're the first mayor of color in its long history. I'd love to know, what does this mean to you? And also, what do you think it means to the city?
Well, to me, it shows the progress of our people. It shows how far, the folks of color have come to a point where not only we are the majority of the folks that call Brockton home, but now we actually have, someone from that community into the leadership role of this city. So it shows a great deal of progress for our people, and it gives us a lot of us hope. How things are going to go, and especially for the young people that they can actually look up and see one of their own sitting there. It opens up doors and opportunities like I think like we've never had before.
Are there special concerns and needs your city has that it relates to the fact that it's majority minority and majority Black?
Well, we have the same problems that all the cities in America has. When you look at, the lack of opportunities for young people, the affordability issue that, we're getting bombarded now with people. I mean, nothing against Boston, but everybody's moving from Boston down this end, and it makes our community unaffordable in the sense from the level that we're accustomed to. We have a school system that's a bit underfunded in the sense, with some of the things that we have going on. A school system that's somewhere around close to 80, a little over 80% of color now. So we have an aging high school that, in the eyes of schools or in the eyes of technology, it's basically an antique when you look at it. A school that's almost 60 years old. That's something that we're in the process of getting redone or rebuild or whatever the state basically comes down, and because they're going to assist us with that. So whatever they come down with and tell us that they're going to do, we're going to gladly accept the help because it's something that we need. We're losing children from our city to other schools because, why would you want to go to a 60-year-old school when the surrounding communities have these brand spanking new high schools? But at the same time, one of the major problems that we face in Brockton is that we are the only city in the county. So if you're having a tough time making ends meet in the Bridgewaters, up in the Stoughton areas, where are you going to go? You're going to come to Brockton. This is where the social service agencies are. This is where the hospitals are. This is where the federal and state institutions are. So you're going to come here, and a lot of times we're becoming the catch-all for everybody. We don't mind doing it, but at the same time, it becomes a little overburdened to our people and a little overwhelming in some instances to our own services. Statistically, over 60+% of the people who are homeless in our community are not necessarily from Brockton, because we're here taking people from these other communities in the sense, we got our own issues with our own homeless individuals, but at the same time, we got to do for others as well.
This makes you an important regional leader, it sounds like, not just the leader of your city.
Yeah, it does. One of the issues that we're currently dealing with are the issues of water. A lot of the surrounding communities, like the Bridgewaters, their water are infested with PFAS, and their wells are failing all over the place. So they're looking at the city for water. As a matter of fact, we're actually going to enter into some agreements with these towns to provide them with water. And it's a variety of other things. The other day, our fire department was up in Easton, helping Easton out with the fire out there because, we have the mutual aid program, but it's more like we actually have to go and physically help these communities out because this is where this is basically where the city is, and it has the resources to be able to do that. And I don't mind us doing that because I think, we need to somehow regionalize a lot of services in some instances, but at the same time, we need help, to deal with with the common day-to-day social issues that we face as well.
You mentioned some of the challenges the schools face. There was an $18 million budget deficit, and some have suggested that the city's mayor should no longer serve as the head of the Brockton School Committee. You have disagreed. Tell us more about that.
Well, I don't believe in throwing out the baby with the bathwater. A mayor is responsible for the day-to-day operation of an entire city. So if something was to happen in one of the schools, do you think they're going to say, well, that mayor is doing a great job. He has nothing to do with this, but the schools are not doing so well? Do you think somebody's going to exempt the mayor from that? God forbid something happens in a violent manner within the school. Do you think they're going to come down and say, well, it has nothing to do with that mayor? That's not the case. To me, I think the issue that actually had happened in the past, there was some lack of leadership within the school department from the mayor's standpoint. Listen, you're the mayor, the chief executive officer of this city. You need to take leadership over that. You can't let people run amok, do whatever they need to do, and take ownership of it. Listen, people screw up all the time. Cities and towns they might not be in an $18 million hole like we were. They're running some issues with deficits because we have a problem with transportation. Transporting kids to school is a major burden on the cities. So that's why I think you can do both. You can continue to be the chair of the school committee because the school committee is also not the owner of the schools. They're the policymakers, the governors of the schools, but not the owners of the school. The taxpayer still owns the schools. And the students are part of that, and they need to be taken into account. So I think you can do both, not overburden the system with your leadership role, but at the same time, you need to be there to see exactly what's going on. When you look at it, you got a school system that has around 16,000 kids. That's a lot of people that we need to kind of keep an eye on to make sure that we're moving in the right direction.
A big part of your campaign was focused on urban cleanliness. Why was that?
Well, I live in this city. I came to Brockton when I was 16 years old from Africa, and because I wasn't born here, I was born overseas. And you look at the way the city used to look and look the way the city looks now. There's a lot of that we need to do to clean this city up. And I'm talking about cleaning, grabbing a broom and shovels and cleaning it. There's a lot of properties that have been left unattended, owned by people who don't even live in this community. They come in and they collect their monthly rent and they get into whatever they get into. They're in Connecticut, they're in New York, New Jersey, and places like that. So we are going to grab brooms and shovels and physically clean the city. We want to make sure that when you come through our downtown area, it looks clean. My grandmother used to say, you can be poor and clean at the same time. You can wear when ripped jeans was not in style, but now, ripped jeans are in style, I guess. But you can wear ripped clothes, but it doesn't have to be dirty clothes. So we can do the same thing. We can continue to be a poor city, but we don't have to be a dirty city, because that's one of the things that we heard constantly from everybody. And my eyes could see it as well, that the city was not clean.
So we talked a lot about challenges. I wanted to give you a chance to talk about opportunities and your goals looking forward.
If you look at our city right now, the taxation between what the commercial tax brings into the community versus what the residents pay into, the disparity is like around 70 plus, almost 80% of residential that we rely on residential taxes versus commercial taxes. So one of the things that we're going to do is face it head on in terms of how do we attract more business into our community. We're not increasing taxes to the businesses, but we need more businesses, so that we can diversify. The disparity should be somewhere around, 60 plus, 30 plus, 60-40, but ours is like 80-20, in some cases 80 something 15, So our goal is to do what we can to grow our commercial tax base, go to whatever places we need to go and let people know that we are open for business. We want people to come in. We're gonna go through the red tape that exists in this city, the runaround that we normally give people in terms of who wants to come in and do some things. We want to make sure that people want to come here, want to stay here, and the businesses that we currently have, that we're also retaining those businesses. That will open doors for us in terms of our ability to raise, funds so that we can do a variety of other things in this.
And just briefly, your challenger came within a few hundred votes of you in this election that happened in November. Is there some unifying that needs to happen now?
I think we're a pretty unified city, to be honest with you. I think what happened, there was a lot of people on our side that thought the election was in the bag. You've got, X number of year of experience in doing and working with the city, so we're not wasting our time voting in the sense. So it wasn't as close as what the numbers actually indicate. So we're a pretty unified community, so that's the way I look at it.
Okay, Brockton Mayor Moises Rodrigues, thanks for your time. Best of luck in your first year in office.
No, thank you, and let's do this again. It's important for us to show up in the media from time to time on a positive note, not necessarily on a negative note, because one of the unfortunate things that happen in Brockton is that we are not surrounded by the media like some of the other communities are. So I'd like to put an invitation out to you and your colleagues out there that we are a pretty good city down here, and we want you to come down and come celebrate with us, come and do some of the fun things that we're planning to do, so it's not necessarily always on the negative side.
Invitation accepted, 100%.